went to Florida International for 2 years. That was a program that had never been to a bowl game before, and he led them to 2 bowl games in the 2 years he was there running the offense. And now he's back in Boone, and we're all very excited to have him. Couldn't be happy with his return.
Yeah, exactly like you said. I'm fairly certain it's safe to say that we're all happy to have Satterfield back. So I guess without further ado, let's go ahead and start our interview with him. I'm sure that's what most of our listeners are waiting on anyway. So let's go ahead and get that rolling here. All right, thanks for coming on the show tonight, Coach Satterfield. We really appreciate it. This is our first podcast. And first question I have for you, after being in Boone for so long as both a player and a coach, how does it feel to be back in the high country again after being away for 3 years?
Well, it feels great. When I left 3 years ago, obviously I wanted to go and see if we could do the same things that we were doing here, see if we would have success, and we were able to do that. And I was just, looking for an opportunity and a chance to get back here someday. Never knew if I was going to be able to or not, and everything just kind of worked out. This past year we had some coaches that decided to take other jobs and that type of thing, and so it opened up to be able to come back here and come back and help the program once again. So we're just thrilled and excited to be back, my family and myself, and it's just like as if we haven't left. So everything's back in the same fold again.
Perfect.
Great. And kind of as a follow-up to that, Coach, in the 3 years you spent away from the program, were there any different kind of coaching styles or approaches you picked up on you think might help you in your return to Appalachian?
Well, certainly. I mean, when I left, I went to the University of Toledo with Tim Beckman, who he was a first-year head coach and did an outstanding job at Toledo, and he's just now taking the job at the University of Illinois. And so we learned a great deal there. And then I go down to FIU with Coach Mario Cristobal, who's also done an outstanding job, has turned down some BCS-type jobs since he's been there. And, both guys are good young startup kind of head coaches, but we learned a lot. I mean, especially in the recruiting aspect and then overall program building and the team aspect, not only just offensively, but a lot of different things as far as the team goes and of what to do, what not to do. So it's certainly a great learning experience, not only offensively, but as an overall team building process.
Great.
Right.
With that, both Mike and I, we have read, several people have read, that increasing the tempo for our offense this year has been a point of emphasis throughout the entire offseason. How would you say the team has adjusted from both a conditioning standpoint and also catching up to the speed of the game mentally?
Well, I think as far as the conditioning goes, that's a work in progress. I think we're still trying to get where we need to get to. Not only are you got to be in physical shape, but once you also have to be in the mental shape aspect comes into the play too. If you're tired, then your brain's not going to work as well. So we got to push through that part of it, and that's what we're continuing to work on every day. And it's more of a mentality. It's more of an attacking mentality out of every single player on offense, from the center all the way to the wide out and the running backs, tight ends, every one of them. It's a mentality. If we're going to go fast, we're going to go hard. We can always pull back if we need to during the game, but we want to practice fast and hard. Just that mentality of we always got to go harder. I mean, and faster. That's just what I want the guys to ingrain in their heads. And it's an everyday process. I mean, we take it day by day and just try to get better and better with that. And right now, in practice, we're doing a lot of segment type things in practice, and we're not necessarily scrimmaging and that kind of thing. So once we get to that point, I think we'll really going to increase it a little bit more.
Great. Yeah, I mean, I know me as a fan, I love the high-paced offense, so I'm excited to see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I am too. I mean, it all comes back really. In order to go fast, you got to have a quarterback that's going to make good decisions, and that's the thing that we've been harping on. Every day, every practice is making the good decisions. When you're going fast and you're not necessarily trying to get in the best possible play, you're trying to just keep the tempo of the game up tempo, and so the quarterback's sometimes you're going to be running into a defensive front that you don't want to see, so he's got to make the good decisions and get us, into the right place.
Right, absolutely. I can definitely see that being a huge aspect of it.
Absolutely. And just an additional question, since you are the first coach to have the offensive coordinator title in the last 10 years or so. I know you took a pretty heavy role in play calling, but it hasn't been an official title since since 2002. Do you feel it really has any effect, kind of having one voice to lead the offense, or kind of add any kind of solidarity for either the players and or the coaches?
Well, I think so. I mean, that was one thing when I left here was able to go call the offenses and actually just run the show, and that's kind of helped me in this role coming back here. Not only that, we have, our whole offensive staff is new, so the three of them came in here not knowing anything we did on offense, and then Coach Cardwell, who's played in the offense, he was very familiar with it, but. So you got to have one guy that's kind of saying, here's what we're going to do, here's how we're going to do it, here's how we're going to practice, and implement the plan to them first, and then it's going to work down through the players. So it's been a great process, just starting this spring and going through spring practice, and then we've just carried it on. We picked it right up from spring ball into fall camp right now, which has been great. And so yeah, it's been good. I mean, we're doing a lot of the same stuff we did before when we were here. We've tweaked a few things here and there, but it's a lot very, very similar to what we did in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. I would definitely think that, with coaches that hadn't, some of the new guys coming in that hadn't been around the program, I think kind of having that kind of one voice is obviously very familiar with, with the system and kind of how the conditioning and practice and all that goes would certainly go a long way.
Yeah, that's right.
You mentioned earlier about having to have a quarterback that makes great decisions in this high-paced offense, and Jamal Jackson showed tremendous signs of being a great quarterback last year after taking over for DeAndre Presley last year midseason. What improvements have you seen in his game with a full offense or a full offseason to run with the first team, and what areas do you think he needs to improve on further?
Yeah. Well, first of all, he's done a great job this off season, really of leadership. I think that's more than anything. When he took over last year, midway through the season, he wasn't the starter to start the year. So I think it's a different role the quarterback has if he's a starter. And so by the end of the season, we came out. They ended up going 8-4, lost in the first round, and it was a bad taste in their mouth the way they lost the playoff game and the way they finished the season, end of the season. And so he was just been that big-time leader coming into the winter program and then also carrying that through spring ball into the summer. I think his leadership has been the biggest thing. He puts a lot of pressure on himself to be the best he can be and try to just learn the game, as much as he can. So he's over here all the time in the office, watching film and that type of thing, and just trying to get better. The one thing that I think we always can get better is the decision-making. If we're 100% in our decision making, then we're going to be a pretty dang good offense. And so we just strive for that. We're certainly not even close to getting there yet. So I think we're going to continue to try to work on the decision making part of the game. We obviously got to take care of the football. Every offense I've been a part of that's taking care of the ball is we've given ourselves a great chance to win the games. And that's the one thing that as a quarterback, we touch the ball every snap. So we're really working on taking care of the ball. And that comes back to the proper decision making. And so those are the things. I mean, he throws the ball well. He's an accurate passer. He's got very good feet and can run the ball as well. So, to me, he's got the physical tools, and it's just going to come down to the mental part with making the correct decisions.
Right, and that's something that both Armani and Richie Williams have done in the past, at least to us as fans, being both great decision makers and doing the right thing with the ball. So hopefully Jamal can grab that and run with your offense. Yeah,
well, no question. I mean, he's similar. He's in that same mold as a Richie Williams, very similar to Armani in the fact of the smart part of the game. I mean, he's able to pick up different things that the defenses are doing. He's probably a little bit more like Richie in body type and probably running ability. I would say he's close to Richie. Armani was certainly an outstanding runner and a fast runner. I think Jamal's probably got a little bit stronger arm. And so, you're going to take the strengths that a player has and try to mold them into your offense and ask him to do things that he does very well. And we're not going to ask him to do things that he's average at. So we're going to try to take the talents that we have and use them and make our offense the best it could be.
That's great to hear.
And obviously, it is, with kind of the struggles of the running game, the playoffs last year, and just kind of in general been pretty pretty well documented. And with the graduation of both Tavares Cadet and Cedric Baker-Boney, there's a lot of talent in that running back core with Holloway, the newcomer, and Chisholm and Miller and Frazier all in there. Do you think it'll end up being more of kind of a committee approach with the running back, or are you trying to get one guy established through camp that you think is going to take most of the snaps for the first team?
Well, I think if one guy does establish himself in camp, we'll probably lean heavily on that guy. But right now we're giving them all a chance to see what they can do, to see if they can prove to be worthy of that, single guy. I think, they all kind of bring a little something different to the table, whereas Miller's a fast, not as big, but very extremely fast and quick. And you have Chisholm, who's a little bit bigger, who can block. He can do a lot of things. He can catch the ball in the backfield. Frazier's more of that power back, big slasher and a bigger guy. And then, of course, the freshman is, I think eventually he's going to be a really solid player for us. He's just still, he's still learning. So we got a ways to go with him as far as the mental part of the game. So, the way I see it now, I think we're going to utilize probably most of those backs. Probably all four of those guys will get some playing time and get a chance to see what they can do. And if we can get a one horse guy, we'd use them. But I mean, the way I see it now, it's going to take all four of those guys to be able to make us the most productive offense we can be.
Great.
And kind of changing gears, still on offense, obviously, but going to the wide receivers, we have Andrew Peacock and Tony Washington, who both gained valuable game experience last year, and they return as a leader of the wide receiving core. But with Brian Quick obviously getting drafted to the Rams, what do you see Sean Price, who's being compared to Brian Quick, what do you see his role being this year?
Yeah, I think he's really got to step in there and realize that he's going to be a big factor in our offense. Just, he brings the size on the outside perimeter part of the passing game and he's got really good speed and he's got good hands. But again, he's a freshman. He just got here last year, redshirted, and he's still young. He hasn't had any game experience, and so a lot of that's going to determine how quickly he'll grow up and realize that he's going to be a big time player for us. I think he's got the tools. I think he's got a lot going for him, a lot of potential, and so he just got to get out there and play and continue to take it day by day and to continue to learn. I mean, he's learning every day. I mean, the things we're seeing in practice and that type of thing. And he's going to be a huge part of our offense. But certainly Peacock and Washington guys, veteran guys that have played in the Southern Conference and won some big games in the Southern Conference. So we're going to lean on their leadership and their experience, and hopefully Sean Price and some of these other guys will come on as the season goes.
Great. Yeah, I've heard nothing but great things about Sean Price's ability. But like you said, he's young, so I haven't seen him yet. I haven't seen him play yet, so I'm excited to see him show his talents.
Yep.
Absolutely, and kind of sticking with the passing game. Obviously, we just graduated Ben Jordan, who was a 4-year starter, 4-time All-Conference player. So the tight end position has been left pretty thin in terms of game experience. And, between, Barrett Burns and Drew Bailey, who converted from linemen, I've heard good things about both of them. What strengths do you think those two guys bring to the table, and how do you feel just kind of about the tight end position in general, now that we're kind of getting into camp?
Yeah, I think Bailey's really had, a great camp. He had a really good spring for us. He's a bigger guy. He's a really outstanding blocker. Can catch the football. He's done a great job so far in camp catching the football for us. He, last year they even moved him to play him at tackle a little bit last year. We had, some issues on the whole line. So he knows how to block. And he's a very smart, intelligent guy. So he's done some things that we've asked the tight ends to do on and off the ball. They have to know a lot in this offense. And he's picked all that up very well. And, I like what he does catching the ball. So he's a big-time player for us. I feel we're going to lean heavily on Bailey. And, we got to get Barrett Burns. He's a true freshman that just got here. We got to get him schooled up on what he needs to do. And, again, he's got a lot to learn, in a short period of time. And so,
absolutely. And also, I know he kind of came on a little late in the process, but Josh Henning, who was the transfer that just came in, I've heard similar things about him, and that he is, supposed to be a very strong run blocker, and that was kind of what his strength is. Do you think he'll be able to see the field much early, or any kind of maybe two tight end sets. How about the running game with him and Bailey?
Yeah, I think that Josh has a chance. You know, again, he just got here, and so he's still learning. And we've only practiced for 4 days now, so